add you to our YouTube admin so you can do the direct upload after the meeting.
Okay, you're asking a lot of me, but we'll make it happen.
It's real simple, but you just got to let it run because it's a big file.
So I
Stuart,
will
how
go
do you
ahead.
get your voice to sound so cool? Do you have a
3
special
days, 3
microphone?
days of stand up in front of 15, 16 very powerful people and yelling at them because they're all salespeople.
Can you record my voice message?
Right.
Can I make
Brooke
a
is
quick
not
announcement?
available today.
Yes, please,
Please try
Judy.
him later.
Go ahead, Judy.
I'm launching a LinkedIn Live series on June 28th. The number in the series is still to be determined. I'm tentatively planning 6 sessions, and it is called Strategy plus Systems equals Success. So I will be putting, there's information on my LinkedIn business page. The registration page is up, and there's still a learning curve on Restream. So if anybody knows Restream, I'm open to any tips you've got.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations, Judy. I'm sorry we didn't get to you in that first half hour.
That's
I was
okay.
just
Thank
chatting
you.
it up. Wonderful. All right. Well, Susie, unless you want to do the honors, I'll introduce Jess. Unless you want to, you tell me. Go.
Go ahead.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, we are glad to have Jess Pare. Am I saying that right?
Yes, there's an
Okay.
accent on the E.
Good. At Alchemy Learning Solutions, she is on a mission to make the creation process easy and enjoyable so that purpose-driven entrepreneurs can increase their impact and their income through online courses, programs, and memberships. Throughout her career in higher education and educational nonprofits, Jess has honed her craft of creating transformative and engaging learning experiences, whether online or in person. She believes that the key to learning new things is connection. When we connect an idea to our own past, present, and future, we bring it to life and allow it to transform us. This process doesn't always happen by itself, which is why Alchemy was founded, to increase access to the transformative power that is a well-crafted learning experience. And those of you who know me know that this just is my yay, this is what I'm talking about with learning. So with that being said, I'm gonna thank Susie for making the connection and pass it over to Jess.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. Well, hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for spending your Thursday morning with me or letting me spend it with you, rather. I would love to get started now that you know a little bit about me, to learn a little bit more about you. I want to know who's in the room. So please use the chat and let me know what kind of consulting or work do you do? Just drop it right there in the chat. Let's see who's in the room. This could be who do you work with or what do you specialize in? I've heard a lot of leadership. Okay, marketing, website design, sales consulting, branding, conflict management. Awesome. Educational consulting. Okay, cool. Leadership, sales, success. Wonderful. And as you keep doing that, raise your hand, please, if you have already created and sold a digital product of some kind. Okay, I see a couple of hands. Lynn, Mary, Helen, Judy. Cool. Oh, and a thumbs up from MJ. Nice. Okay, great. So thank you for that. Who in the group has been in the business the longest? Do we know? Judy thinks so? Anyone want to fight Judy for that? Nope, cool. Congratulations, Judy. That's awesome.
I don't know. It makes me old.
It makes you wise, hopefully, and experienced. Okay, so thank you for letting me get to know you a little bit better. What I'd like to do with you all today is I do have some slides. We'll get to that. I'm not going to lecture and talk at you. The goal for me with today's conversation is to help you understand what the options might be for what digital products you could use to create new revenue streams in your business. For you to understand why you might even want to do that. What could the benefits be to you and your business and to your clients? And then for you to understand how, like what is the first next step that you might want to take to move in that direction. So those are the takeaways that I had in mind, and I'm going to break you out into breakout rooms so that you can brainstorm and get feedback from each other. But I'd love for this to be a really interactive conversation. So if you have questions at any time as I'm talking, please feel free to pop in, raise your hand, and I'd be happy to pause and hear what's on your mind. So with that, I would love to know, again, in the chat, or actually, let's do this verbally. I would love to know why you came today. Like, what is your number one thing that you want to walk away from this conversation knowing more about today? Yeah, Val.
I'll go. So I've done virtual education while I was in the K-12 environment, and I have a lot of content, and I've done webinars, and I have a couple like short ebook kind of things and that sort of stuff. But yesterday I got a meeting with a client who wants me to design tutorial modules for a learning system that they already have in place. And I now need to figure out how to gather piece. We're still having the preliminary, like how in depth do you want to go, blah, 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 all that. But I have all this like sort of now scattered content that I need to pull into a structure that meets their needs. And I'm busily just putting piles of things in front of me and making notes about files I need to go look at and that kind of thing. So anyway, I thought, oh my God, I can't believe this happened the day before this session. I'm so excited. And I think it might be an opportunity to sell this to the LMS system, not necessarily to the client. So so anyway, there's just a lot of different, I kind of went, huh.
Well, it sounds like a great opportunity, Val. So, you know, if I can answer questions about how to approach taking content you already have, I think we will talk about that. Taking content you already have and turning it into something, whether it's your content or a client's content, we can definitely talk about that today. And I see MJ, you've got your hand up.
Hi, thank you. As I mentioned when I was introducing myself, so I currently am in the process of learning how to move out of being that expert and a consultant and moving into how do you educate. So there's, in my experience so far, that's a big difference of how you think and how you move through a product. And I have developed some products. And I feel very good about them. I haven't sold them yet. So I'm trying to learn how you sell online. So that's one of the things I was really excited about coming today to learn about.
Awesome, thank you. Lynn, what about you?
Well, you know, it's interesting, MJ, I'm kind of with you from the standpoint of coming from, you know, a 30+ year corporate life and then coming into the entrepreneurial space while still wanting to be an advocate and an educator. So I finally decided I better walk my talk. And so everything that I've been doing, either live or workshops or whatever, I've used a platform and put my information now online, and I'm selling, you know, like little courses. But now all the rage is micro courses and, you know, micro content and all of that. And I'm not the greatest on, do I understand marketing? Yes. Did I do it for large multinational companies? Yes. But when it comes to me, that's where the authenticity needs to be real. And for me, and I'm not going to be pushy, especially about a topic people don't want to talk about. So, I mean, that's that combination of, okay, you've got content, you're popping it out there. What are really good ways that we can actually do good by with that?
So if I'm understanding you correctly, Lynn, it's kind of that question of how do you market your product authentically? Okay. Thank you.
Well, and should courses be micro courses? You know, what's the cool trend these days?
Got it. We can definitely touch on that. Trey, and you'll be the last one for now.
Yeah, so I actually have put together some trainings, you know, using Camtasia and whatnot, maybe 3 years ago, and I've just been sitting on them the whole time because the original intent was to like put them on Udemy site, and the formatting was such a pain on that I just never got to it. So I was hoping to maybe find out a little bit more about what are some other channels or options as far as posting these without me having to, build a e-commerce site on my own site.
Okay, great question. That's always a hot topic, like what platform to use. Everybody wants to know. So we can certainly touch on that. By show of hands, does anybody have a reason that you're here or a burning question that was not kind of covered in what was shared already? Okay, cool. So great. We are going to touch on everybody's burning questions. And if more come up for you, like I said, shout them out. And just to give you a better sense of like why I'm here specifically talking to you about this, I've been in education for 15 years, and I started at the university level and learned all about how to create and design curriculum and facilitate learning experiences. So that's my background. I got my master's in education. And I also learned a lot during that time about how to assess whether the learning experience was successful. And then I moved into educational nonprofits and delivering trainings and programs to volunteers and students and parents and staff. And eventually moved into creating online learning experiences and got my training in instructional design for e-learning. So I can definitely speak to those questions about microlearning and adult learning theory. And we can kind of geek out about the tech side of things. And now I've been working in my business for 1.5 years, so still pretty fresh, but I've worked with, I think at this point it's like 35 to 40 coaches and consultants, solopreneurs, to help them create online courses, memberships, programs, and even some live instructor-led programs. So that's why I'm here talking to you guys about this stuff. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and we will dive into our first objective, which is, here we go, which is what are the options? What is a digital product? And I know some of you already know this because you've created them, which is great. Okay, so this is our theme for today, unlocking your business growth with digital products. So number one, what is a digital product? So here are some examples. I heard, was it John? Yeah, John, you just published a book. Why not have an ebook? Could that be an option? Absolutely. If anybody else has published a book, that could be an option for you too. A mini course is another digital product. Mini courses are a great way to teach a very specific concept. We're thinking like less than 5 videos, less than 10 minutes each. That's a mini course. A companion course to a book. That's another great digital product. And I'm going to throw in a link in the chat actually to an interview that I did with a boutique publisher and book coach, where we talked all about how can you take a book that you've written and turn it into an online course, or how can you take a course that you've created and turn it into a book. So I'll pop that in the chat. Feel free if that interests you to watch that at some point. And I created a companion course to a book with a client. It's especially great. He was a consultant and a life coach. And this book was all about how to create a life that is full of purpose and meaning and intention, right? And so there was a lot of theory in the book. And what we did in the course was we applied it. We created activities, we created journaling prompts, and we built a course that really helps people turn that, take that knowledge and apply it to their lives. The other thing to think about is that there are different learning styles. Some people like to read a book, some people like to watch videos, and they won't touch a book. So, you know, you want to think about appealing to different styles within your audience. Another digital product would be recorded webinars. I heard, was it Lynn or MJ? Somebody said that they've done recorded webinars. That's another great digital product. You do it live once, you record it, and now you can sell it. And you've put the time in one time, and you can monetize that forever. Same thing for a masterclass. That's just kind of a fancier name for a webinar. And we can talk more about webinars if anyone's interested. They kind of had like a rise to fame, and now they're going out of fashion because everybody's kind of caught on that they're a sales tool, and a lot of people aren't providing much value in them anymore. So we can talk about what the next phase of that looks like in online products. Another digital product would be an online program. So when I say an online program, that would be something that includes recorded videos. That would be a course, right? But then it also has some live time. So maybe that's once a month or every 2 weeks, a group coaching call. Or maybe it's a live Q&A Facebook Live where questions are submitted in advance and then you go live and you answer them. So that kind of thing. Another product could be a membership or subscription. So I'm thinking for like our graphic designer or our photographer in the group, a subscription that someone might pay for from you all would be like a subscription to new swipe files every month, or a subscription to new photos, stock photos that they could use, something like that. Membership program is great if you want to be providing content every month to people. So if that's you, if you have more content than you know what to do with, and you also want to create an ongoing relationship with clients, membership could be a great option for that. You can also offer that at a lower price point oftentimes than you can offer, you know, a program or one-on-one consulting or something like that. We've also got, so now we're on the right-hand side, we're getting into things that are a little bit less of a lift, things that you may be able, maybe you've already created something and you can just monetize it in a different way. So tutorials and guides, that could be, you know, a 10-page PDF. It could be a video tutorial about how to, for our photographer, for example, how to use a camera, or, you know, do something very specific in your business. So for other like leadership or strategy consultants, maybe you want to do a quick tutorial on, oh gosh, I was going to say how to do a SWOT analysis, but that might be a little more complicated. A printable. So Lynn already has one of these, right? Her life planner, what's it called? The living planner, right? So we can, I've heard a lot of coaches use planners, right? Especially business coaches, helping people plan out their quarterly goals, or the tactics they're going to use to get to those goals, etc. Artwork, scrapbooking. Okay, swipe files. I talked a little bit about those. That could be if we have some marketing folks in the group. A lot of business owners are looking for copy for email marketing, for social media posting, for our graphic designers, you know, graphics, icons, etc. I've seen so many ads. I mean, by show of hands, like who has seen an ad come through on your Facebook for a swipe file of some kind? For, you know, are you looking for my workbook, my designed workbook template, right? That's a swipe file. Any questions so far? Okay, the last one that's on here is a template or a calculator. So that's just something that someone can take and repurpose for their own use. So if you've already created something for yourself, for your own business, that's a great way to do it. Calculators could be used for like financial planning in people's businesses, or projections, making projections. One thing that I don't have on here that is really appealing to a lot of clients is assessments, quizzes, things that people can take to learn more about themselves or their business, to diagnose where they are now. So that could be another digital product. Okay, so let's see. Before I get into that, I'm gonna stop share here. And okay, we got a question from Susie Moon. What are your favorite quiz platforms? I have used a quiz platform. Oh gosh, Susie, what's it called? I might have to think about that. I have not used Survey Anyplace. I'm gonna have to look for that website for you. The one that I used was pretty cool actually, because you could insert pictures and make it really visually appealing. And you could also set up like if they got within a certain range, they would be taken to this landing page and see this kind of information. If they got a different result, they could be taken over here. And you could see the analytics on the back end of how many people came through and how many people completed the quiz. So when you guys are in breakouts, I will look for that link and get it for you. I'm also
kind of a quick, simple one. I've just used Forms, even like Microsoft Forms, to just quickly be able to write not a lot of design and cool looking graphics, right? But if you just need something in a pinch, and the Microsoft Forms, and it all goes into an Excel spreadsheet then for you to be able to quickly see the results and the answers. And a lot of times it's included in your, right, in your 365 package. So.
Yep. Okay, I'm putting the link here in the chat now to the Facebook live interview that I did with the author coach. So you've got that now in the chat. And okay. So getting into some benefits of selling a digital product. What do you all think are some of the benefits for your business? Go ahead and come off mute and shout it out.
It's a great leverage of our time.
Can you say more about that, Lynn?
Well, when we're having like one-on-one or group conversation, that is a smaller, I mean, it's a very committed time frame. It's very personal, et cetera, et cetera. But I think for me, the challenge was finding the content when that it was more general, that I could share expertise about, yet still feel like I was not being a real weirdo, just kind of giving the if-then statement, pretending like I'm talking to myself, but trying to educate that way. So it's a way for, sometimes it's of marketing just to gain exposure. Sometimes it's, hey, just help people do something.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I heard leveraging your time, marketing. I'm going to take some notes here on our whiteboard. So benefits of a digital product, leveraging your time.
Establishing credibility.
Oh, go ahead.
Ooh, did I hear discoverability?
Establishes credibility.
Okay. Establishes credibility. Yes, that's right. Just like writing a book establishes credibility as an expert, so does having some kind of online product or a suite of online products.
I think a lot of people are used to working on their, like fitting things in when they have time. And so maybe they don't have time during the actual work hours, but that they could go to a digital product and be able to look at it at 9 at night or 5 in the morning or whatever. So accessible maybe, and working to fit it in.
Absolutely.
I was thinking that I can be in more places at one time than I can. I go to schools, and so when I'm there for like 5 hours at a time. I could be in 5 schools at the same time doing the same information if I had it on a digital or pre-recorded.
Absolutely. What other benefits?
There are several in the chat, but just creating a passive income stream.
Yeah, passive income stream. Thank you, Stuart.
And just to go over the chat, there's recurring revenue without having to do anything, can reach more people, one-to-many approach.
Okay. Classroom, in-person focus, more on the essential, and virtual learning self-paced. Exactly. So Marion's making a great point here that if your time is super valuable, right? And so that's why we charge more for one-on-one work with clients. Now, if you could use that time, not repeating the same topic that you tell every client, you know, teaching them the same content, if you could instead say, watch this video and then come to our coaching session ready for us to dive in, wouldn't you get better results faster? Probably, yeah. Okay, no one too many. So these are great. You all obviously know the benefits of creating digital products. One thing I'll say relative to the kind of passive income stream topic, this is something that online gurus, they love this phrase, right? Passive income stream, make money while you sleep. Doesn't that sound nice? I am unfortunately going to burst that bubble because it's not passive. Sure, you've created the thing and you can sell it without being there, but it takes time to market it, right? So it's not like you can just create it and they will come. Yeah, you know this, MJ, right? Yeah, and that's the trap that I find a lot of folks can fall into is they put all this energy into creating the thing. And then they're exhausted and they're like, all right, it's out there. And they sit back and wait and nobody's buying it. And I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't have created it. And that's not the conclusion to draw. The conclusion is like, okay, now it's time for phase 2, which is market and promote the heck out of it. So it can work to create recurring revenue, to leverage your time, et cetera, to create a new revenue stream. And it does take effort. Okay, so coming back to us here, let's see. I would love to have us do a little journaling exercise for a moment. And the focus of this is really thinking about what would be an intentional use in your business of a digital product? Is this something that would be a low ticket offer that could help you reach more people? Maybe right now you're offering things at a price point that is just inaccessible, or feels, for a lot of people, I mean, or it feels like a big step before people have built a relationship of trust with you. So maybe a digital product for you would be something under $100, under $500, depends on who you're serving. If you're serving Fortune 500s, you know, that low ticket is going to be different than if you're serving individuals. But so is that the focus for you to kind of open your funnel bigger and bring more people in so they get to know you? Or is your focus with creating a digital product to better serve your current clients? Where like MJ, no, sorry, I'm forgetting who said what. It's not you, it's me. Whoever said that they're repeating themselves. So is the purpose of your digital product to save you time from repeating yourself, standardize the message that you're sharing with all of your clients, and allow you to focus your live face-to-face time with them on more impactful things? Or is the purpose to create like a signature program that you can, maybe this is your highest ticket offer and you can offer this to, you know, like your top level VIP clients, and fill a gap that way. So take a moment, journal for yourself, where in your business would a digital product fill a gap for you?
I guess I could go. I am in a.
MJ, could you pause for a moment? We're going to discuss, but I want to give everybody like 2 minutes just to write it down, just to think about it. Thank you. And when you're done thinking, just look up and that will let me know that you're ready. Okay, so it looks like most folks are done thinking. So let me know, let's talk about it. Where are you seeing that a digital product could fill a gap in your business? MJ, you were ready to go. Nope.
So I think it's already been mentioned a little bit, but I am in a consulting practice that I only work or I'm able to work with customers one at a time because it's full-time work. But each customer goes through similar problems, pitfalls, process, et cetera, et cetera. So I know that by doing more digital products, I can reach more people and expand that way.
Awesome. Who had a similar gap that you're filling in your business? Anyone else? All right. Other gaps, talk to me. Judy.
Okay, so I've created digital products to use with basically my existing clients because many of my clients are boards of directors, and we would work virtually or even in person. They could watch part of the digital course, then we could maximize the face-to-face time that we had. Okay, so that's how I've used them. But now I'm ready to just take those and create a signature program.
Wonderful.
And then, of course, the next step is marketing that.
Yes, it is. Okay, great. Anyone else thinking about creating a signature program?
I kind of, for me, like I want to get back to K-12 after the pandemic. Like the pandemic just rocked that whole industry, obviously, right? So, and so I was wondering if I could kind of create a series or a signature product that would help teachers get back into designing their own high quality learning experiences rather than just saying, get on this virtual, math program and do 30 minutes of the, I mean, they had to triage, right? And so I'm wondering if maybe that kind of like mini, how to get your feet wet again in the creating process, and that, so yes.
Awesome, thank you, Heather. Anyone else thinking about like a mini course or a
yeah, I would like to convert my book into a full-fledged product.
Awesome, John.
It's a little overwhelming for me to think about because it just is coming out and it's a long developmental process in my mind. But
well, if anyone is, an athlete or likes to, has even watched a movie of people like climbing a mountain, right? We get to a peak, and then so often we try to push ourselves to just keep going to the next peak without taking a break and looking back and appreciating how far we've come. So that's really what creating these, bigger scope digital products is like. We reach one peak, take a pause, take a rest, recharge your batteries, eat a granola bar,
I see it as a multi-step process. Next is Kindle, next is Audible, and then maybe a course or a program after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome.
I created a mini series on LinkedIn and then put it on YouTube for how to develop, establish, and facilitate a mastermind group. And I did this in a series of 8 segments that were probably 7 or 8 minute videos using Zoom as a platform. But that's where it sits. It's the marketing in it, it's getting it out there, and just looking at this in general. It's a way to build and establish or create a reputation. I might have a reputation when I'm in front of an audience and deliver a workshop, but beyond that, I don't have much digital presence. So a way to share knowledge to bridge an understanding, get people from point A to point B, and to prepare an audience. So there might be pre-work or post-work or just small little learning nuggets, opportunities to provide content for others to grow and learn their skill set.
I'll share just a slightly bigger idea, which is there's a lot of people in this room and in this organization that have the knowledge to bring to the market. And at some point in 2023, we should talk about creating a platform for ourselves so anybody can step up on it and create a digital product to take to market.
Yeah, what I'm hearing and what you're saying, John, too, is something that we see in the marketplace. I don't know if you all are familiar with Amy Porterfield, Marie Forleo, a lot of these players, Stu McLaren, they are leveraging each other's platforms and audiences. So, individually, they're the biggest names, right? So they already have thousands of people individually that are following them, but we could follow that same model with you all, right? Where you share each other's resources with your audiences to build your own credibility, to build the value that you provide to your clients. And so that could be a great option to help promote. I saw Mary Jane. Did you have something? You came off mute. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Oh, I was just going, I was just saying that I was in the midst of trying to think about creating this product for our clients. We build one-day websites and sometimes they want to bring their copy with them, but they're not entirely prepared for that or know how to write website copy. So you gave me a lot of good ideas with I could create a swipe file stuff for them of headlines, right? Or at least attention getters for the top, and then maybe a wireframe component, and then a couple how-to write good website copy, and then sort of a structure. So yeah, thanks for that.
Sure. Well, and that's a great point too. You probably have a lot of those resources already created that you're using in the work as you're doing it for people. But the next level is sharing that with people who want to DIY. So that could be something else for you all to consider. Lynn, yes.
Okay, this is the piece where the DIY is hilarious because I decided to take my book, John, and break apart each little segment and create a course with it. And so I decided to have a beta group of 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, each decade represented, because I work a lot with younger people. And so I thought, okay, but I'd better bring it up to my own decade. So, I had all of that. We want video, we want audio, we want to read it. Blah, blah, blah. So, and then at the very end, they said, Lynn, we want everything to be separated because it's too much. So that's where I kept thinking about the micro courses. So John, I don't know if you have them contemplating and thinking in your book, but if it's really it can be cool either way, but get some people's feedback. It really helps.
Yeah. And Lynn, you touched on one of the key points in online learning. So it's different teaching online than it is teaching live or in a classroom, because you've got people kind of captive. They're in a community, first of all, and their attention span is greater when they're connecting with someone in real time. So, you all are experts in this, probably our speakers like Stuart, right? What is the average person's attention span in a live session? Yeah, Mary Jane. Oh, you're on mute.
I know mine. I'm guessing 5 seconds.
Nancy, you probably know. Nancy, how long does it take to lose people's attention? She's our professional speaker in the group.
And also the one that's worst on technology, because I just lost my photo now. Basically 30 seconds. When you open a speech, you've got 30 seconds to capture their attention. That's it.
Mike has a good reference. You want to talk about the goldfish, Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, it's basically less than the average human on online will have less attention than a goldfish will give you more attention. So it's basically less than 5 seconds to capture attention in a digital world.
Yeah. So there's how do we capture people's attention and prevent them from tuning out within the first 30 seconds or 5 seconds? And then how do we retain their attention. And the retention piece is really difficult online. And so the best practices for online learning are micro learning. So you brought that up, Lynn, because people are used to watching a video on TikTok, on a Instagram reel, on a Facebook reel that's, 2 minutes or less, right? And they just keep going through the feed and watching another 2-minute video, 2 minute, 2 minute. So with online learning, we mimic that with the micro learning. So we do videos that are ideally 10 minutes or less. 5 minutes is great because they're so busy. We're all so busy in our lives. People can fit that in, right? I can be sitting in my car waiting for my Starbucks order and watch a video that's 2 minutes long, right? And feel like I've accomplished something. So that's another piece of it, is like when these videos are shorter, then I get that dopamine hit really fast of like, okay, I finished that. Next one, I'm motivated, I finished that. And we're used to also binge watching, right? That's how Netflix gets us. It auto plays to the next one, to the next one. So when you move things online, you really don't want to be uploading a 60 to 90 minute video and expecting people to pay attention the whole time. It's not going to happen.
I would say also on virtual, right? It's hard to see your audiences. You're not picking up on any of their clues that like you're losing them, because you don't see them, right? So when you're in person, you get that energy or that feeling back and forth, right? But if it's digital, you don't get those clues.
Absolutely. So that's one of the reasons why I don't recommend creating a very long self-paced online course. The statistics around completion for those are abysmal. It's like 10% of people who take an online course without any live component will complete it. So if we want to create impact for our people, and also create raving fans who are going to say, oh my God, this program was the best thing, and they're going to shout it from the rooftops and tell all their friends, then we want it to be something that they can actually complete and get benefit from. So when you think about your decades of experience and knowledge that you have, and you want to put it online, think really small. More is not more. Okay, I think I've hammered that enough. So here's my question, and I was going to do something else in the breakout rooms, but I think this might be a good prompt for you. Let me know if this sounds good to you. So I'd love to send you to breakout rooms to talk about what are your fears or concerns or like questions about getting into creating a digital product. I'm guessing most of you have a similar one, which is like, will anybody buy it? But I'd love for you to go into these breakout rooms. I'll give you 15 minutes, 10 minutes. What do we think? I'll give you 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes sounds good. How many rooms do you want, Jess? How many in each room?
There are 21 people, so 3 in each room would be great.
Okay.
Thank you, Stuart.
So if I do 6 rooms, that should break it up.
Yeah, that's perfect. So to be really clear, you're going to go and talk about your biggest fears, concerns, or questions that make you kind of cringe about how to get into creating a digital product. And feel free to troubleshoot, share ideas with each other. And then we'll come back in the big group and we'll discuss, and I'll see if I can alleviate any of those fears for you.
So it's 9:20 in the Midwest. 10 minutes will be half past the hour. Six rooms. Here we go. So Jess, I didn't assign you. You can go into a room if you want. Just find one or stay here until others come back.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to try and find that.
I'll just look at which rooms have. Yeah, there's one room that has only 2, so I'm going to jump in and join that one. Okay. See you back here. Thanks.
Yep. Welcome back. Hello, welcome back, everybody. How were those conversations?
Good.
Did you guys have similar fears or were there any outliers? Similar, Tracy?
But all of us were a little different from each other. So,
Mm.
but very understandable. I think it matters where you're at in your business cycle, or like John's recent milestone has him thinking in a lot of different spaces than Val and I. So a lot of different spaces.
Nice. Did it feel helpful to hear other people's fears, even if they were a little different from yours?
I think it's helpful even to state your own fears,
Mm.
which to me is more important as it relates to self-reflection and introspection.
Yeah, did anything surprise you about your own fears?
No, I live with them every day.
Got it.
One fear our group talked about was investing on the front end to create all this. And then even if you invest on after you've created it on all the marketing, afraid of like, is it going to pay out, even if it doesn't pay out monetarily, but maybe it pays out through connections or whatever. But it's kind of scary to invest in all that time and effort if you don't know that it'll work.
Absolutely. Yeah, was that a theme that came up in other people's conversations? The uncertainty aspect?
Yeah, something that's occurring to me right now is just the so what, how what, now what, and then what sequence, right? So now you've done something, so what? And how are you going to do something with what you've done? And now what, that you've done it, are you going to do it, that it's out there? Then what is the next step? And that's kind of where I sit is, yeah, I put it out there and there it sits. And then where do we go from here? And how do we get that into a broader audience? And how do you leverage that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great framework.
So Stuart, to that, I'm in that same boat. and one of the things that I started doing last year, and it kind of was because of the outcome of the pandemic, was, and you're a mastermind guy, is I joined a mastermind that was specifically focused on strategic alliances. And this is a good tip for others. Find people who already have your market and develop a strategic alliance with them and see if you can get them to be an affiliate for your course or market whatever it is you have, because it's really hard to just break into this great big pool of people.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, thanks, Judy.
Yeah, I think the biggest kind of mindset pitfall that I've seen my clients fall into is one that was mentioned in the chat right before I sent you all into your rooms, which is what if it doesn't work perfectly this first time? And then the folks that want to give up when it doesn't, right? Because this really, just like anything in your business, is a process of experimentation. And you try a thing, you observe the results, and you adjust, and you try something slightly different, right? And so you're gathering data all along the way, which can feel scary when there is a financial investment in play and a time and energy investment, and our resources are not infinite. So yeah, MJ, you've got something to say about that.
Well, and I also think that just doing the process yourself, the wisdom and the experience of going through that process, even if it hasn't sold, I keep saying yet, I keep using the word yet. I know it will because it's good, but it's even though that you still have tremendous amount of value just by working through that process and learning that.
Thank you. Yeah. Stuart.
Yeah, in June of 2020, at the beginning of the pandemic, I put together a leadership summit and put it out there free of charge. But it was timed where each of the interviews that I created were out for a 24-hour period of time, and then I took them down. And then I sold that series to anyone who wanted it. I had one buyer, Even though I was broadcasting to an audience of conceivably thousands, because the people that I partnered with had mailing lists of greater than 10,000 that they promoted to their mailing lists on. So there was a lot of effort that I put into that. And I was a one-man show. Although I did interview 25 experts, it was so much effort that I put into it that I was burned out. And it's almost taken me 2 years to recover from that effort. So to do it right, to promote it, to put it together and put it out there, even with the best of intentions at the worst of times, which is where I was, and wanting to do this as a benefit to the world, it seemed to have gone nowhere. And now I'm in recovery phase from that, and just at the beginning phase of launching again with a podcast. But yeah, there is work that goes in. There is a challenge, and there is a lot of uncertainty with where it's going to go.
I think something that, if I don't mind, from a marketing standpoint and events marketing standpoint in my other careers, in branding, it's like you can't do something once and expect it to stick. And especially online, there's so much out there that, like, remarket it, Stuart. If it's still valuable content, just keep doing it. Get some more people to buy into it, because your first time is never going to be the biggest event. So it takes years to build events, and it takes years to build a following for anything, really. So, and I think we see that years and money. So you could also spend money in ads, but there's so much out there, and that's what the uncertainty is, right? There's so much stuff to break through, and you can't expect it to happen once. So keep going. Don't let the flame burn just yet. Yet.
There is kind of, where is the tipping point? Because if there's a financial investment, when do you call it, okay, enough is enough? And when you're putting out thousands of dollars for something that gives you a return of 67, it's like, what is the value in doing this?
This is a great conversation. There are not black and white answers, unfortunately, as a person that would really like there to be. But I think you've got a great community here of support. And Mary Jane, I love what you were sharing. I coined a phrase, I think I coined it this year, of ding dong ditch marketing, because that's me. Like, I created a new program. I put it out there. Like, I sent it to my email list once or twice. I put it out on social media once or twice, and nobody responded. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just leave now. Like, I'll go hide in my hole. And I think what we know in marketing circles is that, and in learning design, is that people need repetition. There is such competition for our attention that we need to be told about these things at least 7 times for it to stick. And in marketing, I think it's even more. It's like 13 touches or something like that.
Yeah, the science on that is like, they don't even know. They're like, well, it could be 5, it could be 7, it could be 27. Like, nobody knows. It's just a lot.
A lot. Yeah. And the kicker for me was, I talked to someone who's like a mentor of mine, an advocate. She's in my circle. Like, if anyone should have known that I was putting out this program, it would have been her. And I told her a month afterwards, I'd given up, and I was like, it just failed. And she's like, wait, what were you offering? I never heard about that. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the science behind frequency and consistency is 3 times per week, every week for 52 weeks for 3 years.
Could you repeat that?
The science behind frequency and consistency is 3 times a week, every week for 52 weeks for 3 years.
And is that like that person has to, like, that one person has, like, what's the science, like that
You have
one
to
person has to see it that
reach
much?
your audience 3 times with the same message, and it has to be somewhat entertaining, otherwise they're not going to take it all in. 3 times a week, every week for 52 weeks for 3 years. I will guarantee any ad campaign based on that methodical scientific approach. And I'm the only one you're ever going to meet that will guarantee advertising results, because I know what the formula is, and I've done it thousands of times.
Does it have to be the same exact message, or do you experiment with it?
Same message, one concept at a time. Not 2
Not the exact
concepts.
same text, but like
Singular
the message.
point of information. What's the one thing you want to get across 3 times a week,
Mm.
every week for 52 weeks for 3 years. I guarantee it.
Well, if my own children are any data group, my kids at dinner last night or 2 nights ago said they were picking out their Halloween costume for this October. I don't know why, right? But they all want to be different insurance people. One wants to be the Geico lizard, another wants to be Jake from State Farm, the other wants
Whoa.
to be the mayhem dude.
It's hilarious.
They're 6.
How long
I've
has
always-
that been
They're
around?
6 years
Oh
old and they
my
know all these insurance,
Oh,
and they're not like Geico will save you 15% in 15 minutes.
Geico's a
Mom.
good
Right?
example.
Like, so I don't know, John, I think maybe that is, there's truth, right?
So John, that's a great thought and concept, but it begs the question, do I have it in me? And, you know, how much effort will it take?
So,
But beyond that is where can you outsource something like that? And
well,
what is the
it's
cost?
outsourcing's not that hard. The delivery's hard depending upon the channel. But the driving force has to be your belief, your unshakable belief that you know for certain if you connect up with people, you're going to make a difference in their life and you will stay on the path.
So
John,
John, that
don't you
comes,
risk becoming a pest at some point? I mean,
Not
if
if
I get
you're
3 emails a week from the same person,
not
I'm
if your
unsubscribing.
campaigns are creative. They have to be, there's a creative element to it, which is design. Mary Jane can speak to that. And the concept of designing your communications and your messaging visually, auditorily, written is the key, because people will start to look forward to your messaging if you have a wow factor and the creative. And graphic design, to me, is the platform where it begins.
I totally agree. I think that it's just so important. Both Candy and Mary Jane have helped me with my social media posts that you can use Buffer and, put them all in and load them up at the beginning of the year so they fire automatically.
Yeah.
But they have helped me with some graphic design that I have in pictures that I'm really sticky about, not just the content, which is MJ's content and her words, but also the visual. And it's really crazy how a gorgeous visual, a beautiful visual gets way more views. We had 2 posts back to back that on accident had the same words, and the beautiful visual got like 10 times the views compared to the different one. And the other one wasn't bad. It just wasn't as beautiful and visually appealing.
In
So
the
I think that
scientific
right
world,
onto that. Yeah.
ad agencies do A/B testing on audiences before they spend millions of dollars.
Mhm. One of my favorite memories in my marketing career is that I used to be the marketing manager for Essen House and all of the businesses around there. And I would write the email newsletter, and I had so much fun doing it. And it was cheeky, and I really worked on the brand voice, and provided interesting content as well where people learn from it. And so I was talking to one of my friends, and I was talking about the email newsletter. I said something about how I had to write it or whatever. And he said, "Oh, you put that out?" He's like, "I actually look forward to getting that newsletter." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing." So it can be done even.
Yeah, so the big takeaway that I'm hearing from this conversation is about consistency and just showing up time after time, and then also patience. I think something that what I don't like about the industry that I'm in is that these gurus that are teaching you how to create online courses or programs, webinars, this is the solution to your problems. They make it sound like it's going to be an overnight solution. And really what we're doing is we're in it for the long haul. If you listen to Marie Forleo talk about her story, she was bartending for 7 years while building her business on the side. It was not an overnight success. So even if they have a formula that has worked, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for us overnight. And I know that's disappointing because wouldn't that be great? But so how are you feeding yourself? How are you resting and looking back on that mountain peak to appreciate how far you have come, Stuart, and all the things that you did learn in that process? And I love what Mary Jane said about just because we tried and we didn't have an audience at that point and people didn't respond, doesn't mean if we did the exact same thing again right now, we wouldn't have an influx of people. So it's kind of like soothing our ego a little bit to say like, okay, it wasn't that it was a bad product or I did it wrong or anything like that. It's just like, they didn't hear it that time. Let me try it again. Like take the emotion out of it as much as we can. And I know we've only got a few minutes left, so I wanted to circle back to some of the questions that were brought up at the beginning.
Yes, can I interrupt real quick? I think
Yeah,
Judy
Heather.
had a comment to make and she was trying to get in and then didn't get a chance. So I'm going to advocate for my
Thank you, Heather.
learners.
Oh, gosh, thanks, Heather. One point was going back to John's original comment is the big challenge is finding that one message that you want to send 3 times a week, 52 weeks a year. That's the real challenge because we can all do so many different things. So that was one comment. The other comment, and Jess, maybe this gets back to what you're moving towards, is as I developed digital products, the big challenge was because they're not producing money when you're developing. So I had to keep doing the consulting face-to-face. And that took up so much time and quite frankly, energy and emotional commitment to those clients that it would interfere with the creative thinking time to get the product done. And that was a big challenge. And so I finally had to come to a conclusion of, do I keep doing the face-to-face or do I really now want to invest time to really make this digital product out there and get it marketed? And that's like a big transition step to take too. So those are my only thoughts. Thanks, Heather.
Yeah, that's such a great point, Judy. And you know, if you aren't able to take a week off or to commit to 3 hours a week for the next, 3 months to create something new, then how can you do it? And I imagine for those of you who have taken on a big project, written a book, I mean, yeah, John, 2 years, right? It took you 2 years, but I bet you 3 years. Okay. So, I mean, how do you fit it in? You write for 15 minutes every morning and you make a commitment to that consistency. And just like that, after 3 years, you've got a book. Like it's the how do we eat an elephant one bite at a time situation. Is that a thing, Mary Helen and Heather? Hey, all right.
Yeah, that's what launched our whole book idea for MABC last year. She presented on how to eat an elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with creating a digital product. And, not every digital product is going to be that level of intense effort, right? So we talked about creating swipe files, MJ, right? Or Mary Jane. We talked about that, right? And so maybe it's something you can take off a smaller bite to get started in the digital product world and not have to think about investing 6 to 12 months in creating a signature program. Or maybe you create the signature program one piece at a time and you get ahead of where your learners are, right? You create enough so that they've got the content they need. And then as they catch up to you, you're creating the next piece, right? So there are ways to handle that. The other big question that someone brought up at the beginning was like, how do you take content and turn it into something that's valuable? And this is also related to how do I take 25 years of expertise and turn it into something online? And the way that we do that in learning design is we start with the end in mind. So what is the tangible outcome or takeaway or takeaways that we want people to have? What is the skill we want them to have? Or what is the knowledge they need to understand? What will be different for them by the end of the experience? So we start with that, and then we build the content around that. And so in order to do that, we need to know who is the audience and what is the problem or question or challenge that we're solving for them. So those are some questions that you can start thinking about to direct you. And then, whatever your outcome is that you come up with, I would encourage you to think, is this small enough? Like, we always want to over deliver, but going back to our conversation earlier, online, unless there's a live component, like in a signature program where you can really accomplish more, you've got more face time, and you can support people along the way, you really want to think about a discrete outcome. Like creating a PDF guide is not going to enable someone probably to, build a whole strategic plan on their own by just reading this 10-page guide. So you want to kind of check yourself on your expectations of the outcome, and then be really clear about communicating exactly what it is that you're solving and what will be different for the person on the other end. And that's how you grab their attention. They're like, oh, she knows what's going on for me. It's like she's reading my diary. I need that thing. I will give her, $100 for that workshop because it's going to solve this problem. Thank you for the folks that are jumping off. No worries. We had a burning question from Trey. Is he still here? No, it looks like he went. Okay. Other burning questions or takeaways you want to share from today?
I'll just say that this has been an enlightening presentation, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I want to share. I'm sorry, I want to share just one piece of inspiration before you all leave. Jess, really a great presentation. I learned a lot. Remember the word yet, 3 letters, Y-E-T, and end your sentences with yet. My program hasn't sold yet. I haven't finished my book yet. Whatever it is, it opens up in your mind, it opens up that there are still possibilities. Just wanted to leave you with that. Thank you, Jess.
And Nancy, that's called like the growth mindset, is that, and even to bring up my children again, they actually sing this song that's like from Sesame Street. If I can find the link, I'll put it, and it's the power of yet, yet, yet. It's the power of yet, yet, yet. And so my kids, they know that as part of their learning, that I don't know how to read yet, or I don't know how to do all my multiplication tables yet, but that's why you keep working at it, right? So that's a real thing. You're on it, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. I just wanted to put this screen up. We can keep talking, but feel free to take a picture of this with your phone if you'd like to get my contact information. And you can also use the QR code to download a free guide on some mistakes to avoid when creating your first online course. But let's keep chatting. Ken, did you have something to share?
I thought I'd just put in a plug for something not related, but on the 21st, that's the day before John's event, is Make Music Madison. And as it happens, I will be participating with some of my neighbors. There's one event called Tunes on Tycopera, and it'll be in the driveway of one of the neighbors. If you like some music, there'll be music all around town, but in particular in our neighborhood.
Sounds fun.
Great. And I also wanted to give Kim a chance. She's another guest today to just introduce herself, and she's my guest, and I'm just thrilled that she could log on, but give her a chance to tell about her business and what she does. And then we'll wrap up.
Thank you so much. So my name is Kim Malone. I was a probation and parole agent for 20 years for the state of Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, and then I was in Waukesha, and I retired last year. And at the end of my career, I started seeing more and more young people coming on supervision or going to prison. So my thought is that they don't understand the system. So what I've been doing is talking with young people at schools, in social groups and whatnot, about the criminal justice system and what happens when you get involved in it. Sometimes they don't understand what can get them involved in it. So I've been trying to work with those young people doing that. I've been working with 3rd grade through high school. So Heather, I was introduced to Heather and she helped me write the curriculum. I still love all of Heather's kid stories and her stories that I still laugh about that we did. But, I was saying in my breakout group that it is like I've been there for 20 years and sometimes I think things are just common sense and I'm not an expert at it. But as I worked with Heather, she'd be like, oh no, I didn't know that. Really? Oh my goodness. So she would be talking about things and I was like, well, maybe people don't know this. It is just, I think, common sense to me. So my thing is, as I stated before, is that I'm going into a school doing 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, giving these presentations. So I'll do a presentation on party to a crime and what that means and social media and sex offenders and grooming and first impressions. And so I'm going in, I'm doing the same presentation age appropriately for each grade level. So I'm there for 6 hours. So if I could do something on social media and not social media, like video, it would be so much easier. So I could maybe have them do 3 sessions and then I would come in and talk to them and do that. And I'd be able to build because I did the Google form as Heather had said, and the kids are responding and the teachers are, and I asked, what are some new things that you guys would like to learn? So I've done this section and now I'm able to add on because kids are talking about girls' self-esteem and trying to keep up with people on social media and bullying. And so now I'm able to continue to add on. So this was like the perfect time for me to come in because I just talked to Heather like, yep, we got to do something new now. And I also do the same topics with parents. So explaining to parents, if your kids are online and they're playing video games, that's where sex offenders come to groom your kids to get them to, do that or sex trafficking. And parents don't, I know it's common sense, but they don't. And they're like, oh, I thought they were in the house, that they would be just fine. And, so it's just interesting. And that's my passion. And I think talking with you guys, it really helped me. I was trying to do so many different things. I also have a podcast. I need to shut up. I also have a podcast called Both Sides of the Fence. It's one of my offenders that was on my caseload that we talk about just life issues. And he talks about how it is when you're in prison. And I talk about it from being a PO and just a regular mom on the street. So we talk about different things on there too. So, but I like the 3 times a week for 52 weeks for 3 years. I'm going to start doing that. I do kind of have this little catchphrase that I'm going to try to use in there. So thank you for that.
Yeah, if you need help, I'll help you.
Wonderful. Well,
so
thank
much.
you, Kim. And Jess, thank you so much for your framework and knowledge, and even all the menu options, right? Like that, maybe one of us was thinking one choice, we had to do an online course, but even knowing that there's all these other options is really valuable information. And this has been recorded, so we can post that and link and connect and share. And next month, so let's give a round of applause for Jess and thank you. And then we went coast to coast today. So if you have other guests that you'd like to invite to come, Madison area business, area can mean from California to Massachusetts now. So we would love to have other guests. Next month is Michael Roderick. He'll be coming back to speak again on the power of yet, actually, how do you present and get to the groups of clients that haven't heard of you, yet. So that would be great. And then really mark down August to be a working session for us to really dig in to take advantage of all that our website has to offer and have some creative time to actually get that job done and then off the books. Jess, any last closing thoughts for us as we leave today?
This was such a great conversation. I would come back and talk to you all again in a heartbeat. I really appreciated how engaged everybody was. So thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And everybody have a great, safe, and happy weekend.
Thank you, everyone. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See y'all.